Welcome to English 125, Introduction to Literature. Let's get something out of the way. While this is a literature class, and while you will have to do some reading throughout the course of the class, the way we handle that is a little bit different than literature classes you might have heard about or taken in the past. Let's take a look at the classroom and I'll show you what I mean. This is your English 125 Introduction to Literature classroom. You can see right here on the home page there's a video to watch, and then you have all 5 weeks of assignments rolled out for you. One of the things I think that's really important to realize about this class is that we're going to be prioritizing your own experience with the literature that you read. So rather than trying to trip you up by seeing if you remember what happened on page 8 or trying to get you to remember what different color someone's shoes were in an earlier chapter, we're going to be making sure that every line you read, every paragraph you read, we check in with you and give you an opportunity to talk about what it's making you feel, what it's making you think, how you're relating your own experience to the literature that you're reading. Ultimately, at the end of the day, a literature course is about opening yourself up to a diverse range of experiences and voices. We'll do that by also making sure that your voice, your experience, is a key part of the class. There's just a couple of things I want to touch on really briefly here to give you a sense of the flavor of the class overall. There are going to be discussion boards. Usually there's one every week. And a lot of them will ask you to reference some material from your textbook while giving you a selection of readings to explore in that individual week. This is week 2, where you'll be focusing on the genre of short stories, of fiction. There are a couple of examples there that will ask you to read. You'll pick one and then focus on that in the discussion board. The same thing will happen in week 3. What this does is it means that everybody in class will have been reading the same material. So you'll all be on equal footing when it comes to describing and discussing the topics for a given week. But another really interesting thing that happens here is that whereas in week 2 you talked about short stories and fiction, and in week 3 you talk about poetry in the discussion board, the written assignments for the class and for those individual weeks match up. So while on week 2 discussion you'll be discussing a particular short story, on the week 2 written assignment, you'll be able to use one of those same stories that you already discussed on the discussion board and expand your description of it, expand your interaction with it, expand your engagement with it. The same thing will happen in week 3. So rather than making you sift through thousands of pages of different poems, we're going to ask you to focus and specialize in what you've already been interacting with in the classroom. Your week 3 paper will allow you to look at something particular that you've already discussed and expand it. Of course, there's a final paper in the class. That comes in week 5, but in week 4, there's an outline learning activity. This will help you, there's another video here, this will help you start to put together the pieces for your week 5 paper. And when I say pieces, what I mean is that your week 5 final paper will use material that you've already written and developed on the discussion boards as well as on the written assignments. You can't just copy and paste the material flat out from your earlier assignments, but you will be able to use some of that original thinking that you put into earlier assignments, revise it, reposition it, and use it here in the week 5 final paper. That week 4 learning activity is key to ensuring that you know how to build that week 5 final paper. Throughout the course, your own experience and your own reflections on that experience are key. You'll be understanding, describing, and discussing literature through a very particular and unique lens. Your own experience, your own ideas will play a crucial part in demonstrating how you interact with and learn from the voices and experiences and perspectives that you'll find in the literature in English 125, Introduction to Literature. Good luck.